My name is Romy Datta. I am a product manager in SageMaker, and today I'm going to be talking about how to improve foundation models with human in loop with my colleagues Amanda Lester and Kate Kishriram, my friend and CTO of Crikey AI. And we thought, let's go through the whole agenda and introductions and all of that. But I think the one recurring theme you have probably seen throughout the conference, generative AI, foundation models, which is at the core of generative AI. So we said, why don't we let a foundation model do that for us? So,
Hi, I'm Romy Datta, Product Management, Growth and Business Operations Leader for AWS Human-in-Loop AI/ML Services. Today I'm going to talk to you about some of the challenges in building, operationalizing and using foundation models, the need for human-in-loop AI/ML services to solve for those challenges, and how AWS can help with SageMaker ground truth.
Hello everyone. My name is Amanda Lester, Senior Business Development Lead at AWS. I'm excited to show you a live demo of the latest enhancements for generative AI use cases.
Hello, I'm Kediki, the Chief Technology Officer at Crikey AI. Today we'll show you how we used Amazon SageMaker ground truth to train our AI animation foundation model.
Was that cool? Well, the rest of this talk, you're going to learn about how these videos are generated within a matter of minutes using Crikey.ai's tool and SageMaker ground truth for human-in-loop capabilities out here. So for today's conversation, we just went through the agenda. We're going to talk about the human-in-loop for machine learning and talk about the problems there and how SageMaker ground truth can help you solve them. Amanda is going to come and show you a demonstration of some of the key capabilities, and then we'll hear a customer success story with Crikey and wrap up. When you talk about human-in-loop, it's not really a new thing, especially in the field of AI. Traditionally, you have needed human-in-loop capabilities for labeling data, unstructured data specifically for AI. And in the world of foundation models, you need human judgment to assess the models, and you need human-in-loop for data collection, data generation, for supervised fine-tuning or other forms of fine-tuning, which is called instruction tuning. Fundamentally, the problem looks somewhat like this. You would start, this is in a traditional deep learning model, and it's interesting we call it traditional today. It's probably just a few years old, but that's how fast the field of AI moves. You would take your input data, raw data, which would be images, text, something like that. You would do some labeling, which would be putting a bounding box around a car or putting a bounding box around a stop sign or some other object. Take that label data, train a model, and then deploy it, assess how that model is performing, have humans readjust some of the labels, add labels, edit labels, again, go through fine-tuning that model, and this would go on iteratively in a loop till your model gets to a production-grade state, and you could deploy it in inference for production applications. And that process and it continues. It still exists, and it still goes on, and it continues to be time-consuming, expensive, human-intensive, of course, because it's human in the loop. Now, the advent of foundation models changed some things. Foundation models differ fundamentally from traditional deep learning models. The deep learning models are trained on labeled data or annotated data. You would then train the model and use it for one particular task. Foundation models are based on transformer architecture. They are generally very large in size. What is large? Language models, which are one of the key types of foundation models, are in the order of tens to hundreds of billions of parameters and above a trillion parameters in some cases. Video, probably a little smaller. These models are trained on large corpus of unlabeled data. That data might be internet data. That data might be data from your corporate databases. Once it's trained on this data, it has context to answer questions about other areas or subjects. So these foundation models, you interact with them, you put in a prompt, a text input, and it'll give you a certain kind of response on a particular task. So that's great, right? All this unlabeled data, just take data and you go to town with it. We are done with the whole human in loop thing. No need for labeling data, annotating data. Well, no, not so fast. Turns out that the foundation models require a much more holistic set of human in loop or HIL capabilities. The process of training a model with a lot of text, images, videos, whether it be from the internet or from your corporate databases, scientists actually call it pre-training a base model. Once you've pre-trained a base model, yes, it has a lot of context. It'll answer questions about something else with that context. But you want to figure out, firstly, whether that model is answering things accurately. So you would evaluate the model. And that evaluation may not just generally be about accuracy, but about other dimensions, which we'll talk about. As you evaluate the model, you will also go through a process after the evaluation of fine-tuning the model. That model fine-tuning or customization can be done in multiple steps. In one step, you would take human-generated data for supervised fine-tuning. Scientists call this, in the scientific language, it's called demonstration data. In some cases, for language models, you would also do another kind of fine-tuning called reinforcement learning with human feedback. That particularly means that you are going to apply inputs and rank the responses on particular dimensions, like toxicity, accuracy, and take that ranked output to train the model or fine-tune the model again. So that kind of data used for reinforcement learning with human feedback, or RLHF, is called preference data. And this kind of model customization process goes on in a loop, iteratively, till your model is ready to be used for your particular business use case. Some of the challenges we have seen: inaccuracies, especially if you take a model off the shelf and start expect it to answer right questions about your customized use case, which may be in a financial services use case or some other domain. Another one, the model spews out toxic content. Or it could actually also spew out contents with magnify the stereotypes and biases. And finally, something very interesting known about foundation models is they have a tendency sometimes to hallucinate. Hallucinate means it actually gives you a very confident answer to a prompt or an input question, which may not have any context with the question asked. So these are some of the problems we have been hearing from our customers, and the ways human-in-loop can address some of those. The human-in-loop services for foundation models fall under 4 broad windows or categories. You would use demonstration data to do supervised fine-tuning of models for your particular use case. In the demonstration data types it could be question and answer pairs generated on documents for language models, for images and videos, like the ones you would see from Crikeyite later today in this talk, would be captions for those videos which explain what's going on. Preference data, this is where you would apply the prompts, collect the responses, have multiple responses per prompt, rank the responses in the order of toxicity, accuracy, helpfulness, or any other dimensions you might choose, like some of our customers choose diversity, and use that information to fine-tune the model. In some cases, you would actually use this preference ranking data to fine-tune another smaller model called an instruct model, which in turn could do the preference ranking for the main model. That's another approach to do RLHF. Model evaluation. Yes, there is a fair amount of automated evaluation capabilities, but for a lot of subjective criteria like tone and brand voice, you would still need human in the loop. And even for accuracy, you would initially need to figure out what is the original ground truth, what is the correct answer before you try to do some kind of automated evaluation. And a subset sort of evaluation, but deserves its own window category, is red teaming. This is about stress testing a model to determine any vulnerabilities, to try to get, if it's spewing out toxic input, try to push it to spew out toxic or biased outputs rather. See how it actually reacts in response to a prompt, a toxic prompt. Because the idea is to stress test this before you put it out into the deployed business case so that it doesn't actually do it in production. So all of these require human in loop at scale. And this is where Amazon SageMaker Ground Truth comes in. It provides you the most comprehensive set of human in loop capabilities to improve the accuracy of your models. You would start with model evaluation. We launched this capability yesterday, both in Amazon Bedrock and in Amazon SageMaker, enabling you to have workflows to do model evaluation, automated as well as human at scale. Ground Truth provides you workflows to also collect data which can help you customize your models, either with supervised fine-tuning or RLHF. But we don't just provide you workflows. There might be times when you need to really scale up a workforce to do the data annotation. And we provide expert workforces with a range of expertise, which could be medical, legal, school teachers, so on and so forth. And we can scale up these workforces to do data annotations or generate data for you or evaluate your models at scale. And when we provide workflow and workforces, it's an outcome-driven offering, and we provide you quality and service SLAs for those outcomes. So some of the areas, key areas, we have been working with our customers to provide data for customization of their models. We have helped them and continue to help them customize foundation models with human-in-loop capabilities by creating demonstration data. Some of these are customers choose to use their own workforce, or they choose to use our workforce with our workflows. These have been around document summarizations, intuitive workflows to enable question and answer generation for documents, so where you could actually write a quick Q&A and also indicate which part of the passage or document you're getting a question and answer from. Intuitive capabilities to enable at-scale labeling of images and videos. So you could point out, like, what is the setting of this video? What is this video about? You could write, these fields of questions. Once you fill all of that in, writing your caption for the video is actually very easy. And then we can do this at scale in the order of labeling hundreds of thousands of videos in a matter of weeks. For preference data, we provide workflows to have your prompts and responses, evaluate them, and rank them in the order of, whether it could be ordinal ranking, Likert scale, or so on. The next thing, which is around evaluation of foundation models, again, we provide the capabilities to do both automated and human evaluation, both in Bedrock as well as in SageMaker. And if you want to bring your own model and work with us to evaluate the model, we provide that capability too. We give you insights into key metrics, robustness, toxicity, accuracy through automated evaluation. But we understand that human evaluation will always be a part of foundation models, at least in the immediate foreseeable future. So we provide you intuitive interfaces to prompt the foundation models at scale, evaluate the responses, okay? Multiple options to evaluate response, which could be thumbs up, thumbs down, ordinal ranking, Likert scale again. And once you farm this out to your own private workforce or use other workforce, an external workforce, they could do the evaluations without actually requiring an AWS ID. You could use their own regular emails. And then you can see a dashboard and you can see the results of those evaluations. We can provide you workforces and workflows to conduct red teaming analysis. And a lot of the model reports are available then after that for you in intuitive dashboards, as well as in your S3 bucket for you to use in future. Because model evaluation is not a one and done thing. You would have to do all of these periodically, so you would always compare with your past model evaluation, even if you're, say, using model X or model Y, and you have decided you're going to only stick to that, there will be updates to that model, and before you start using an updated version of the model, you would run an evaluation of the past version and the current version with your own prompt data sets and your own business use cases. And finally, it's not just about workflows, as we mentioned. The expert workforce, the mode of operation out here is that you would engage with us. We assign a program manager. It's a full service offering. They take the requirements from you, get a sign off on a quality, what exactly it means, what good quality means for your use case, and then manage the workforce and deliver your data annotations, whether it be Q&A pairs or related preference ranks or image captions to you. And if with the quality SLAs and the delivery SLAs, we can deliver on a weekly basis. For some customers, we deliver on a daily basis as required. But we understand that for a lot of use cases which are proprietary, confidential, or require some very custom subject matter expertise, you would want to use a privately managed workforce. We provide you that option too. We also have over a dozen vendors we work with, which you can select for your tasks. And finally, you can always crowdsource some of your tasks if required with Amazon Mechanical Turk contractors. The question comes, why SageMaker Ground Truth? What's the difference? The difference fundamentally comes down to the 3 S's to deliver you quality data at scale. The first one is the scale, whether it be labeling with workflows or workforces. We enable you to scale up very easily. We can scale up to thousands or tens of thousands of data annotators with different kinds of skill sets. When we talk about skill sets, these are folks who are already doing data annotation or evaluation or question answer generation for AI/ML use cases. They're working with our external customers as well as internal products, AI/ML products like Textract or Alexa. And then for a full service engagement where it's workflows plus workforce, we have our science team work collaboratively with you, advise you on some of the right data annotation strategies, and also try to collaboratively solve your problem, because this is all this is all pretty new. And at this point, we are all learning a lot every day from our customers and from our internal use cases. So with that, I'm going to pass over to Amanda to walk you through a demonstration of some of these key capabilities on SageMaker Ground Truth.
All right, thanks, Romy. So I'm going to take you through today an overview of a live demo of how you can go in and create demonstration data, preference ranking data, and specifically for a variety of different types of use cases, including documents, taking a look at at text ranking from prompts from a model and looking at the responses and ranking those responses accordingly to human preferences. And then I'm also going to show you how you can leverage SageMaker Ground Truth to specifically go in and caption images and videos. I'm going to play the role today of a data scientist at an advertising company. My advertising company, we have a lot of different types of assets that are really important for our respective business. And we're going to be going in, and I've already gone in and created a number of labeling jobs within Amazon SageMaker Ground Truth, and I'm going to show you what that looks like. So I'm going to switch over now to my screen, and I am in the AWS console. I have gone in and already created an Amazon SageMaker Ground Truth labeling job, and within this job, I have gone in and updated and provided a path to the Amazon S3 location where I have stored all of the images and assets that are really important for my advertising business, including the documents that I've already pre-populated, the images, a number of videos, as well as the responses from models that I've already inputted in there. And then I've also set the Amazon S3 output location of where I would like all of that annotated information that's being collected from our workforce to be able to go in, and I will then be able to utilize that information to then fine-tune and train my model. Within the Amazon SageMaker Ground Truth application, I can go in and there's a new generative AI template that you can select. And within this generative AI template, there's a new ability to go in and do text ranking. So this is doing reinforcement learning, human feedback, and this is the workflow that I'm going to use and set up to be able to review the responses from the model and then rank those accordingly. And then I also have this new option for question and answer pairs, where I can go in and upload a number of documents and then create and generate questions and the appropriate answers that I want to be able to make sure to teach the model how to respond appropriately. So I've already gone in and set a lot of this up. So I'm going to show you what that looks like from a labeler's perspective. So I'm now not in the AWS console. I'm now in the interface as a labeler. And what I can see here is I have two jobs that are already set up here, one for text ranking and then one for question and answers. And I'm going to go in and start working on the text ranking response. And we'll see if it loads here. On this particular screen, what you'll see is I have in terms of my advertising company, we have a number of different prompts that our sales team is going to go in and input into our large language model that we've already pre-selected. And what I want to make sure to do is I don't want these responses to these prompts to be super verbose. It's really important that we make this nice and clear for the executive audience that we're going to be speaking to. So I've gone in and I've already generated a number of different types of responses from the model, and I'm going to go in and rank the responses in terms of the preference, in terms of which response is most clear and less verbose. So I'm going to go in here and I'm going to rank that accordingly. I'm going to rank this as number 1 because it's most concise. I'm going to put this one as number 2 because it's very similar. And then 3 and 4, I think, are about the same. So I'm actually going to pick this one because I think this one's a little bit more less detailed. And I'm going to now submit that. And this information will then be used and really important for myself to then fine-tune and train my model to teach the model really good examples of how to respond and in terms of conciseness and giving the model examples of types of responses that are aligned with the preferences of our business. The next thing I'm going to show you is an overview of how to do this with question and answers. So I've already gone in and updated the Amazon S3 account with a number of documents in terms of travel and sports. And we're going to go in and we're going to teach the model how to respond appropriately to the key information that's important for travel and sports and these types of documents. So a lot of these foundation models are trained on open source data sets, but those foundation models don't necessarily know about our business and the documents that we have internally around these areas. So I have a document here around Fresno County, and on the left-hand side here, I have a number of instructions that I've given both myself as well as the workforce who's going to go in and review this. And I'm going to go in now and create a number of questions around this particular document that are going to be most common for somebody who's going to go in and review this document. So this is the largest. Fresno is the largest city in the Central Valley. What is the largest city in the Central Valley? And the answer is Fresno County. And I'm going to reference where that answer is found within this body of text, and provide the model with the ability to understand where within that passage of text where that answer is found. And what's important about this in terms of my workflow is this is basically teaching the model where to find that appropriate information, providing a citation of where that is, so that way the next time that somebody is going to go in and prompt the model for information around this document or around Fresno County, the model will then respond with the appropriate area within that body of text that answer is found. So this will be really useful for that, and I'm going to now submit that. So the next use case I'm going to show you is around creating a number of advertisements and campaigns for our advertising company. We have a number of different advertising campaigns that we do, and it's really important that when the advertising executives at my organization are going in and creating these really detailed advertisements and they're using a generative model to do that I'm giving the model examples of the types of really detailed imagery and information that I want that model to be able to go in and produce. So what I'm going to go in here is use the tool to describe the key areas within this image that I want to call out, and I'm going to provide a detailed caption of what that looks like. So there's a woman in a white dress in the center of the ballroom. There are two other women in an orange dress, and the floor is extremely glossy, and everyone is looking out the window. And what's really important about this is in terms of our advertising executives, when they're going in to create these advertising campaigns, when they go in to create really detailed examples of what they want that generative model to create, I want to give really good examples of a golden data set and teach the model around the type of detailed information that I'm looking for. And then I'm going to use this to then fine-tune and train a reward model to output similar types of examples. And then the next use case I'm going to show you is specifically for videos. In this advertising company, we have a number of video footage that we want to be able to create. So I'm going to go in and watch what this video is about, and then I'm going to need to then describe specifically what's occurring in terms of the activity of this video and show that. So we're going to watch this really quick. Okay, so it looks like in this video, there is a man showing somebody how to swing a golf club, and I'm going to type out the keywords here. So and instructing others to do the same. So there's and then in terms of the primary actions that are occurring in here, it looks like he's pulling the golf swing back, so that's 1. He's hitting the golf ball and striking it, that's 2. And then there's a follow through, so there's 3 actions that are occurring in this. And this is a valid video for our sports campaign use cases. And I'm gonna go in and submit that. So in terms of what I've shown you today, I've shown you how you can go in and use Amazon SageMaker Ground Truth to create and rank responses for models to align those with human preferences, and I'm going to then use that to then do reinforcement learning with human feedback. I've shown you how that you can leverage this for creating question and answers to teach the model how to respond and answer questions appropriately in the manner that is important for your business, leveraging the question and answer interface. And then I've also shown you how you can do this really easily with images and videos and caption those, so you can teach the model how to respond accordingly. And I'm going to turn it now over to Kediki so she can show you how her team leveraged this for their generative use cases.
Thank you, Amanda, and thank you, Romy, as well. So I first want to start just by introducing myself. So I'm Kediki. I'm the Chief Technology Officer at Crikey. My sister, who's my co-founder, is also here as well, Janvi. This is actually our 7th year of building our business. In short, we're an AI tooling company, direct to consumer and enterprise, and we enable people to turn text or video into 3D humanoid animation. So thinking about all the different ways that you might use those animations, we'll cover that in today's presentation. And we'll also talk about how we trained our foundation model for text to animation in partnership with the Ground Truth team.
Hi, I'm John Lee, CEO at Crikey. Today, my co-founder will walk you through how we used Amazon SageMaker Ground Truth to launch our 3D AI animation foundation models.
Cool, there we go. So first I want to talk about why is animation exciting and why did we choose to build our company around 3D animation. So most of us have probably seen an animated movie at some point in our life, or you've heard of animated movies, and historically the field of animation has been fully manually driven. If we go 100 years back to the founding of the Walt Disney Company, animations were hand-drawn, we later added color, and then now we have a lot of tools that help support the creation of 3D animation, which is extremely complex and requires years of training. And in the last 5 to 7 years, we've actually seen a lot of use cases for 3D animation outside of entertainment, and we'll cover some of those today as well. And so with this in mind, we really wanted to empower anybody to animate. So probably most of us here are not animators, but just a quick question, is anyone here an animator? Please raise your hand. I'm not an animator. That's what I thought. So there's no animators here. It's a very niche field. Very few people are trained as 3D animators. And so we wanted to build a tool that would empower anyone to animate. So with our foundation model, you can generate a high-fidelity 3D animation in 5 minutes or less. We also have a web-based 3D no-code editor where you can composite and put together a full-fledged 3D project with avatars that speak in any language, accent, or dialogue. You can also customize the look of these avatars, add customized 3D backgrounds, as many animations as you'd like, and then more. And the goal of this is that, much like YouTube democratized the way people could upload video content to the internet, we at Crikey are interested in democratizing who can produce high-fidelity 3D content. And so we kind of had 3 goals when we started this process and wanted to build our foundation model, which is really the core of our business. So the first is we wanted people to be able to create high-quality animations without any prior technical knowledge. We also needed, as a small startup, to reduce the cost and time to prepare machine learning training data. This was covered by Romy and Amanda as well, but it is quite complicated to find high-quality data, clean it, label it, and then subsequently train your model. And then we were also getting a lot of inbounds and requests from people who wanted us to produce animated projects for them. And so quite simply, we needed to meet these requests in a timely fashion and make sure that we could address the customer demand. And so just to recap, there's kind of 3 key challenges, right? So the first is that manually labeling animation data is really hard. It takes a long time. Amanda showed a demo of what this process looks like. We train our model against video data. So for every video clip that contains a singular action, And one video clip can actually contain several actions, right? But for every one action, we need to have a label. And the label can't be a short label. It has to be very descriptive, very rich, and only in this case will we get good results in our model. The reason for this is if you have a very short label, let's say jumping jacks, for a video of someone doing jumping jacks, that's not going to give you a great set of results for your end consumer, right? Because it means that there's a very narrow set of keywords that the customer has to type in to generate a 3D animation. So we're really trying to produce high quality labels that are 1 to 2 sentences long and can really give a sense of what are all the different ways that this 3D motion can be interpreted and described as. So it's really hard to do because it takes time. It's also difficult to do at scale. We had hundreds of thousands of data points that we needed labeled. Initially, our team was actually doing this ourselves. So before we met the Ground Truth team, myself and a few of our other team members actually spent several hours a day trying to label this data set. And we quickly realized that we would never be able to label every single motion in our data set and do all of our other tasks in our day job at the same time. And that was when we decided to start working with the Ground Truth team. We do more than just Ground Truth. Our entire offering is built on top of AWS. So we use S3, EKS, RDS, Elasticache, EC2, Amplify, and more. I'm happy to talk more about this if anyone has questions. We love building on AWS. It's been a game changer for us, and we're able to serve customers in pretty much any geography on our consumer tool. And then we also have an enterprise offering that's going to go live at the end of Q1, where customers can actually deploy our foundation models via SageMaker Jumpstart and also deploy our no-code 3D editor and self-host it all inside of their billing instance, triggered by just a single Terraform script for a one-click deployment. And again, that's all possible because we've been able to use all of the different AWS services to run our offering. And then I wanted to talk a little bit about use cases as well. So as we said in the beginning, historically animation was primarily used for entertainment, but in the last few years, we've actually seen quite a number of use cases across gaming, healthcare, sports, learning, and metaverse. And because our tool is so accessible and it's so quick to generate high fidelity animations, we see a lot of interesting opportunities for many of these use cases. So that's a little bit quiet, but that was generated inside of our tool. So it's a skeleton avatar that was customized by someone, and it's doing an AI animation of jumping jacks, and the skeleton is speaking. So this is an example of an education use case. This piece of content was created in less than a minute, so extremely fast to create and looks high fidelity as well. And our goal of working with SageMaker Ground Truth is to really do this at scale. So we're currently building the biggest 3D motion data set in the world. We've actually already achieved this goal as of this talk. We have the biggest collection of human motions in our training data set that have now got high quality labels. And we've actually already trained our foundation model and deployed it to our consumer offering. And we couldn't have done this so quickly without the help of the Ground Truth team because we needed high quality, media rich, descriptive labels very quickly in order to release our model to our customers. And then again, just a quick overview of the solution. So we had an interface that was built by the Ground Truth team, which Amanda showed you all. So we submitted our videos directly via the Ground Truth interface. The team would label them, and we would have a weekly call where we would go over a subset of the labels and make sure that they were of the quality that they wanted. And I think what was great for us as a small team is really the depth of the partnership. So we were able to have these weekly check-ins where we could talk about what was working and what wasn't working with the labels. In particular for us, because we had such a diverse range of videos in our data set, it was important to constantly be updating the bar for what is a good label. And I'll give an example of this. So the first 10,000 videos that we submitted were all sports videos. So there's a certain type of label that you need to describe a sports action accurately. The second set of 10,000 videos were all dance videos. And there are so many different dance genres, ways that a dance motion can be described. And so the bar of quality for a dance animation labeling and a sports animation labeling are actually different. So there's a different set of criteria there. And because we were working with quite a big team on the Ground Truth side, we were able to give these bar of quality assessments once a week and kind of update the guidelines as we went. And that helped us get the labeling that we were looking for quite quickly. We do also offer lip-synced characters, so all the videos that you've been seeing, they're all made using Crikey AI, so anyone can produce 3D talking avatars with AI animation and voice, and you can actually create custom AI brand voices with spoken audio. So the voices we use today come by default with our tool, but you can actually upload your own voice and create a custom voice that sounds like you or like a brand spokesperson. And because we've trained our model against such a wide variety of different types of animations, your character can do whatever you'd like. So any type of action that you're thinking of, you can generate it inside of our tool, and the character can also speak in any language, accent, or dialogue.
We are live an AI animation tool. Using our 3D no-code editor, you can quickly generate animated 3D content for education, social media, films, and more.
So that's a quick example, again, of a piece of content made inside of our tool. It took less than 3 minutes to generate that, so very fast and high fidelity. And we have also, because we have such a large animated labeled data set now, we've actually been able to bring our AI animations to third-party tools earlier this quarter, which is very exciting. And for the first time, people who are using design tools that don't know anything about 3D content or how to produce 3D animation can now generate AI animations using a Crikey integration. So that's been really exciting. And again, we couldn't have achieved this in a very short period of 6 months unless we had high-fidelity labeled data, which was possible with the ground truth team. And here's another quick example. So that's a talking avatar speaking in Japanese, a travel guide. You can see the background there is sort of a travel poster as well. This also took less than 2 minutes to generate inside of our tool. And you don't have to have any technical knowledge to produce this. You can just do it in 2 clicks. And so just to kind of summarize, where we've been and where we're going. So when we started this process, we knew that we wanted to democratize how people produce 3D content, in particular 3D animation, by using text and video inputs and generating high-fidelity 3D motion outputs on FBX files. We couldn't do this on our own because we needed to label a huge training data set of videos. And so in partnership with the ground truth team, we were able to bring our foundation model to market in just 3 months. It saved us more than 1,000 hours in productivity, which as a small startup was extremely important to us. And we saved more than $200,000 in labeling fees and also in our team's time, so we could actually focus on the other product tasks that we needed to complete to get our product to market. So I just want to say thanks so much, everyone, for coming to our talk today. If you have any questions about Crikey AI or about SageMaker Ground Truth, please ask them to us afterwards or come up to us. We'd love to talk to you further. And I'll pass it back to Romy.
Great. So I don't know about you all. I am definitely going out there and making some animated movies. I don't know how great they will be. It depends on the creativity, but this makes it easy. OK, so here's some next steps. You can, here this QR code. You could start a 2-month trial. You could review the online resources, get a demo out there. We have some time now, about 15 minutes or so, for question and answers. And we would also request you to please fill out the session survey afterwards. So thank you very much for your time.